Our salsa has cooked for 10 minutes, so now we can put it into our canning jars. So I'll move the salsa over here. In this small pot, I have the canning lids that I've heated up just to a gentle simmer. You do not want to boil these lids because the sealing compound could get too soft around the inside of the lid, and then you may have a lid failure during the canning process. So you just need to have it at just a warm simmer, or you don't have to heat them at all. You could just leave them as they are and use them right out of the box. You'll need a jar lifter, and this is an example of a jar lifter. The black part has a solid hard plastic handles, and then the blue part is a rubber coated wire to help get a good grip on your jars. You want to make sure you use the rubber part on the jars so that you don't drop them. If you use it this way, you'll probably most likely drop your jars. So inside of our canner over here, we've been heating up our jars. And it's always a good idea to heat up your jars so that they're nice and warm. And we'll take them out one at a time to fill them. And we'll use a funnel to help get the salsa into the jars so that we don't lose any along the way. And you want to fill the jar until it's almost full. One thing that we need to measure is what's called the headspace. And the headspace is the area between the top of the food and the top of the jar. And the headspace is important to pull a good vacuum on the jar during the canning process. If there's too much or too little headspace, your lid may not seal. So for salsa, what we need to have is a 1/2 inch headspace. So first of all, I'm going to use my bubble freer and move the salsa around to make sure that we get out any air bubbles that might be trapped inside the salsa. And then we can measure our headspace with this tool. And we need a 1/2 inch, which is right here. So this will set right on the rim, and you can see that I still need to put a little more salsa in there. So we'll get a little more out of our pot. Fill that up a little more, maybe just a little bit more. All right, let's take a measurement one more time. And I'm right on the nose. All right, at this point, we're ready to put our lids on. Our lids have been heating in the water over here, just at a gentle warm simmer. You do not want to boil the lids because that could soften the sealing compound too much, and the lids may not seal. You could also leave the lids alone and not heat them up at all. The manufacturer says that it's not a necessary step, but I think it's a good idea to do that. Before you put the lids on, you want to take a paper towel, wipe off the rim of the jar to make sure it's clean and there's no food debris on there. Take a lid out of our pot, and I'm using a what's called a lid wand, which is basically a handle with a magnet on the end of it. And that helps prevent you from touching the lid so you don't contaminate it. So we've got our lid on our jar. Now we're ready to put a ring on. And the rings only need to go on just until what we call finger tight, which is basically when it stops. If you screw the ring down too much or really hard during the canning process, the lids could buckle, and that could prevent the jar from sealing. So again, you only need to screw it down just until the ring stops moving. And at this point, we're ready to put our jars into our canner.